Hi, everyone. I'm just very grateful to be here, and it's been my dream to actually teach acrylics, the medium part of it, because I've been painting with acrylic now for about 6 years. Prior to that, about 15 years with watercolor. But watercolor never did it for me because there was not enough texture. I'm a texture person. I like to feel everything. And so once you get into acrylic, it's overwhelming what there is actually out there in acrylic. And I use basically golden products for the most part. When I started out, I used some other student grades, but I got introduced to gold and found that it really worked well for me. And so it's been a journey, and it's fun, and every time you turn around, there's a new product. And when I say, well, I love this or I love that, it's exciting, because what happens is all of the products are, they balance each other. You can mix them and match them, and what you can do, there's no limit. The reality is that a lot of the techniques and things haven't even been developed because there's so many different mixing and matching to be done. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. And about, I guess it's 2 years ago now. Well, 2.5. What ended up happening with me, I was, on overload at the art market, and wasn't getting much time to paint, but priorities, the priority was to actually take care of things there. But I discovered this book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And this book, I saw it many times in bookstores, and I said, oh well. And I would open it up and look, well, 1992. There's nothing up to date here in this book, nothing I need. So what ended up happening, long story short, I finally bought the book, realized it was exactly what I needed, because I am a blocked artist. And I still am to some degree, but because we all are, as creatives. But we end up having every excuse in the world not to paint. And we set ourselves up for failure before we even start, because we tend to look at the end product. At least we see in our mind what we want, and if it doesn't come together that way, we just throw the baby out with the bathwater, sort of thing. So after 2 years, and it's really intense. It's a 12-week program, and you do 1 chapter a week. I've done it in earnest 3 times that I've actually done all of the exercises for the most part. And it changed my life, totally changed my life, on the way I feel about art, what I want to do with my art. And I just wanted to share that a little bit, because it goes along with acrylic, and being able to feel free to actually have some fun with it. Because we all want to be masters, and we don't really want to have a screw up with our art. We want it to have a perfect ending. And if it isn't, we're not happy. So my presentation for the most part tonight is to basically let go and allow it to flow and not be concerned with the outcome. And for that, and I'm not actually going to be able to display everything, but I just want to play a little bit here and go over some of the things to think about. Julia Cameron, who wrote this book, she has several others, or many others, but basically several others that I've read. One of her quotes that is my favorite is that creativity is a paradox, and that's because creativity is serious art is born from serious play. Now, as artists, how many of us really are playing and having fun? I mean, I want hands. Who's really having fun and playing? Well, that's good. I'm glad, because basically sometimes we get into it and we're trying to struggle with it, this is not working and that sort of thing. So we really, it's just kind of getting past ourselves and getting out of the way. Now, for demonstration purposes tonight, I brought this. I don't know even what is on here. It was passed down to me from a friend. I'm assuming it's acrylic, but it might be oil. We're going to find out. But what I wanted to just say is that if something doesn't work out, paint over it. I mean, you can throw it out as worst case scenario, and it might actually feel good to stamp on it and throw it in the garbage, but the reality is that almost everything can be repurposed today, and it's good for the environment to repurpose it. So this one here, and in actual fact, you can start by using whatever you have as a base to start somewhere. And I was setting up here and not really getting my paint out, so I'm just going to take a minute and talk. I'll multi-purpose and talk while I'm getting this paint out. And I think a lot of people do a lot of planning. I personally feel that it's intuitive and that it's got to you've got to just kind of go with it. We've got Valentine's coming up, and so and I'm dressed for it, and I think that, and I've got the matching paint. And I think that the thing about that is that it's to be bold and brave and just throw some paint around for the heck of it, because it's fun, and it's going to get us where we want to get. So that, just for your information, this is quinacridone magenta, and this is titanium white, and anything else that kind of really gets you going. And it's just whatever you feel that you want to add here. So, and I'm going to throw in some of this Indian yellow and basically see what happens on this canvas. The thing about art is that there is no right or wrong. There are no rules, and I guess that's what I like the best about it, because if somebody tells me I can't do something, I immediately jump up and say, "You want to bet?" I'm going to do it. And I think that that's a bit, not everyone's like that, but I think from a human nature standpoint. And so, the thing is that, we just have to kind of go for it here. And as I said, this we'll see what's on here and see how this does it. But this is a liquid, and then paint. And I find that the liquid golden has so many different textures, and from heavy body to the high flow. It's just so exciting, and you can just kind of just play with it, absolutely play with it. And I think that you can use a palette light knife for something that's which is this white heavy body, and it's just, you just kind of, and I think for myself, I've been getting very creative in the studio. We have a new studio down called Bay Street Studios, which is above the old Blue Horse in the Bay Village down at the corner of Holly and Bay. And we're across the hall from Lori and her group, and we're just having fun creating with a place to work. There's 7 of us artists, and we just have the freedom of being able to work when we feel like working, and we can actually get the juices going, and we actually support each other too. So you've got someone else to kind of just look at what you're doing, and which I need to hear too. So these I love. These are catalysts by Princeton, and the thing about that is that you can actually make whatever, and let's get some hearts in here because it's Valentine's, and we're going to create some interest by throwing something else on here, and I'm just going to. The other thing here is this is fiber paste. Now I don't really advocate. I usually put this on first, but because this canvas was just already here, and so I'm just throwing it on, and I think for many of us we tend to think that we really need to be more precise, and there are other artists that are very precise and they do a fabulous job, but for the rest of us who aren't quite so precise, and basically what I'm doing, the fiber paste actually creates a paper-like feel that when it's dry, it has the same kind of absorbency. So when this dries, and acrylics do look very different when they're dry, then you can, at that point, if you wish, you can throw on some liquid or some watered down version of paint to create more. And what we're doing here is we're just basically creating something of a base here. Sorry, here, I'll get that out of your way. And it looks like nothing, but it gives you something to build on. And when you're working on something that had something else before it, you're just kind of getting rid of that as a place to start. And so that one, and when I work, I try and work on two things at a time. And the reason is because if I don't do that, what I end up by doing is overworking it. And so this is just stand back for me. I'm just getting a little wild and crazy, but why not? I mean, you only live once, and I advocate having fun, and what I realize is that I haven't been having enough fun, and so because the last year we were moving into a new house, and it's just been kind of a nightmare. So now things have settled down, and it's time to have some fun. And so we're going on vacation in April. We're going to Hawaii on a 15-day cruise out of Vancouver. Yes, that's going to be fun. And just allowing ourselves to take the time. And the other thing that happens also is that with the artist way, two of the things that the whole artist way is based on, one is morning pages, where you write 3 pages every morning, just stream of consciousness writing. You write, I didn't have a good sleep, I feel bitchy, I'm hungry, or so-and-so was not nice to me, or I don't like the weather, whatever. You just get it all off your chest and onto the page. And by doing that, what you end up by doing is having more freedom to actually enjoy your day and get on with what's really important. And the other thing that I've really, and you see I'm just kind of playing with this, what I really love to do, even more than the writing, because sometimes you don't feel like writing, but you write anyway because it makes a whole difference to your life. The other thing is, once a week you take yourself on an artist date. Now the artist date is something you do by yourself. No friends, husbands, kids, dogs, even no dogs allowed. I mean, this is for you. And you play. You go and do something that is not, it's something that is not, it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive. It can. Last week, was it? We went to see Matisse up at the Barclay Theatres. And that was my artist date. And every week I do something for myself, and it doesn't necessarily have to be art related. It could be, this is kind of like watching paint dry, but you have to let it kind of, you have to let it kind of morph. or do whatever it's going to do. Come on, baby, just do it. Let's get, maybe I'll give it the shot of alcohol. That'll spruce it up a bit here. That's right. So, alcohol. Let's just, come on, baby. Let's just go for it here. Anyhow,
You needed a drink.
needed a drink. That's right. It did need a drink because it really changes the form. Anyhow, so the artist date. Oops. Yes, one down. Never mind. See, obviously I wasn't very good at flipping pizzas, was I? Anyway.
Land on the back side?
Pardon?
Lands on the back side?
Yeah, no, it landed on the front side, but it's okay. I'll get it. The alcohol will get it off. Anyhow, so this one we'll just lay down here. It's okay, Phyllis. The alcohol will get it.
How long does it take for that fiber paste to dry?
You know, it depends. I mean, I've added a lot of water and stuff to it, and it's fairly thin, but there's not, you know what, it matches the carpet. You can barely see where it is. Anyhow, so, yes, it's perfect. Yeah, you know what, no one will be able even to know that this wild Carrelyn banner was throwing the paint around and making a mess and loving every minute of it. Because the thing about that is that when you paint, you can't wear good clothes and worry about where you get the paint, because it ruins it ruins your sense of fun. So you know, I just basically, yeah, you know what? It blends in. It's the perfect color. Wow. So anyway, we're just going to let this one kind of sit here for a minute and do its kind of, the alcohol's really done wonders for it. And so anyhow, it's spread it out, and it's going to be a bit, it's going to, you know, it won't be dry by the time I go home. And, you know, I've got my son-in-law's truck, and I'm going to put it in the back, the cab area, you know, wet side up. And it's covered up, so it'll, you know, even if it's raining, it won't matter. And you know, if there's a bit of acrylic on the cab bed, it comes off with a bit of alcohol after the fact. That's the blessing of acrylics, okay? So the artist date, to me, is the best part, and it's something you have to do every week. And it's really important to plan it. And it's your time. And they suggest 2 hours, but I always take more than 2 hours. And maybe once every month or so to take a longer period of time, even a day trip and stuff. Speaking of which, I just signed up, and my contribution to WAG for this year is that I was explaining to Michael that I really want to plan the events, because, like, to take a bus trip to Sam or to the new art museum that they've just opened in Tacoma, or maybe up to Vancouver. I mean, it's really a fun thing to do. And the ones that I've gone on, Kathy organized one, and Joetta organized one, and we had so much fun doing it. It was just a terrific way to spend the time, and that technically wouldn't be called an artist date because we're all going together, but it's just the fun idea of doing something where we're exploring art. And so now this is another donation, and I just want to get it off here because I don't want to have my back to you when I'm doing this, throwing paint around, right? Pardon?
Can you paint sideways?
Well, you know, I can, but to start with, I want to get some more, I want to morph this a bit with more, and I need more room, right? So, and besides which, the colors I'm using are not necessarily going to match the floor as well. Anyhow, what can I, you know, always thinking ahead, you know, it's good. Anyhow, so I'm going to, let me see. We've got this we're going to do this up a bit. We'll think about those raspberry fields, okay, and we're going to, next month, we're going to have to bring something for that, so maybe this will be, we'll start with a green background. And this is green gold by Golden, and it's fluid, so, you know, we'll just get it on here. Yes. and have a little fun with it. Get this. And I think that it's just to lose our inhibition, because somehow we've all been on that, for lack of a better word, that adult, be responsible, don't make a mess, don't spill on the floor, you know, keep in the lines. No! Kids, you know, think about when you were a kid, what your favorite thing to do was, and how much fun you had, and how uninhibited you were about doing it. It's fun. I mean, I came up with an acronym for fun, and it's freeing, uplifting, necessity of life. Because if you really think about it, it's really important to have, we all need more fun. I don't think you can have too much fun, quite frankly. And I'm for more fun, so I'll be getting on the blower to figure out where we can go on our first road trip here, because we need to have more fun. And I'm going to be away in April for 15 days, but I'll be doing the work before that, because May we have that thing, and you know, we really want to be able to escape all of this boredom and drudgery. I mean, like, it's just too much. So I'm not even going to use this brush in here. I think I'm going to get my water, because I just, see, this is just, I just threw this on, okay? So now, you know.
I think it's finished.
Well, yeah, we could just sort of say it, yes. You know, the thing is it become a minimalist, but, you know, why not? But, you know, I'm just going to give it a little shot of water, but not too much this time. And it's, you know, and you see, the thing about it is that you don't have to spend a lot of money. See how that changes right before your eyes? And, you know, you can have some fun with it. And I'm going to drip on the table, but never mind. It's on the table, right? It's okay. And, you know, I just got my nails done, but that's okay, too. Anyway, so, you know what? So you see how different that looks? And then, I'm going to just throw this down on the table. I'm not even going to bother wiping it up, because it doesn't matter. What's really fun, and all you watercolorists know this, if you add salt, it creates even more interest, okay? And that's the deal, is that there's no, I mean, it's already got kind of a wild look to it, but you just kind of throw some salt on it, and it gives it kind of a more of a model-y look, for lack of a better explanation. And anyhow, and you just let it dry a
What did you
bit.
say that is?
Salt,
Oh, okay,
just table salt. And what it does is that it sucks up the liquid and gives it, and then when it dries, yeah, you know, you feel it, and just what I find with my work is that what I just get, it tells me when it's done. And I love layers. I don't have my favorite stuff, because it's got to be level, and it's self-leveling gel. It's GAC 800, which is a similar kind of, and then there's so many different things to actually play with. You could play all year, probably, and do something different every day. Yes?
Now, what about the fumes? Is it, do you have to be aware of the resins and toxins or not in acrylic? Because I don't know anything about it.
Acrylic, is you should have some kind of ventilation. The thing about acrylic, the main danger with acrylic are the varnishes, and it's the aerosol varnishes, which you should never use inside. And I don't use the aerosol ones. I use the ones that are water soluble because they're less toxic, but they're still, you know, it's important to be a little more cognizant about toxicity. It doesn't have the same toxicity as oils do, at least the old kinds of oils and that sort of thing. But it's still, you know, we as artists, we don't want to be dying young because we've been inhaling whatever, right? And so I can just throw that one down. And so, you know, we're just kind of working with different.
I have a question. I noticed you don't put your brushes in water. Doesn't that get hard and damage the brushes?
Yes, it does actually. This one doesn't have any paint on it, and this one does. Oh, yes, it does. Okay. Yeah, you need to put it in water. If you leave it, this poor little baby here got left in the water too much, so that it got, you know. So anyway. But, you know, it's my favorite brush, so I had to buy another one. This one hasn't been used yet, but as you see, they get used.
Are they natural or are they acrylic?
They're synthetic, and they're synthetic for acrylics because they work better. I do have natural, really good brushes because from the long ago when I was a watercolor artist, and you had to have sable and all those good brushes. And I do still use them occasionally, but you don't have to. It's actually preferable not to use the sable with acrylic. And but that being said, acrylic has so many different ways of being applications. Exactly, that's the right word I was looking for. That you never get bored with acrylic, and at least I don't. And that what's really interesting is having the different, to me, is having the different mediums.
Have you tried this?
Yes, I haven't put any gels on these, but the thing with the gels is that they take a lot longer to dry. And let's see what I brought here. I brought some coarse molding paste, and that fiber paste on here, this, you know, I really got a bit carried away with this alcohol. This poor little thing is drowned. Okay? It's Tuesday night, and it's really had a, but it's had a wild night so far. Anyhow, this is the fiber paste along the bottom here. It's got more texture, and and it's got kind of a, I don't know what you'd call that, but anyway, it looks a bit wild. So, and as I said, I don't know what was on this canvas previously. I just kind of threw some paint on it. And with acrylics, you really do need to let them dry, because if you put too much when they're wet. But that being said, now this, you know, I kind of like the way this kind of has morphed around here with the salt and stuff. But what I didn't bring tonight was my blow dryer. But the thing about a blow dryer is that it is kind of annoying listening to it blowing in your ear, and I tend to let things dry. And as I say, I work on more than one item at a time, and I'm just thinking what else I can do to this that wouldn't. I could actually put some molding paste on this one, and the thing with the molding paste is that I can use palette knife for the molding paste, and just add it on and just kind of see what happens with it, and maybe even a scraper or something. I have to share this. I got these really awesome new extra large size palette knives, which I just thought it just makes me feel empowered compared to these ones. I'll just show you the size difference here. Look at this. and I haven't actually used them yet. So here, look at this. So, we're talking about, yes! Sometimes bigger is better, okay? Anyway. So,
You could probably use a regular knife.
you could use anything. You could use I have, actually, my daughter said to me when I was going through my supplies at one time, she said, "That's where my rice cooker's paddle went." I said, "Yes, I loved it because it's got all these little bumps on the bottom of it." And, I collect, if you go to Goodwill and stuff, you could find all these awesome tools that are almost free, and you can use them in almost innumerable ways. And, there's no limit. So this is, this is fiber paste. This is not the one I wanted. Let's just get this fiber paste off here. Move over here. Yes, you're playing in the wrong arena here. Get over here. And you know what?
There was a rule.
Yeah, well, yes, there was a rule. I didn't want it there. But maybe it was supposed to be there. Okay, all right. Okay. No, I don't want the fiber paste. This is the way. See, I picked up coarse molding paste. They're in the same kind of thing. I just say it's a blonde moment. And I get to have a blonde moment. And it's not a gray moment, it's a blonde moment. And I tell everybody, and have been for years, that everybody gets to have a blonde moment. I don't care what color your hair is, okay? So, here we are. We're going to try this coarse molding paste, okay? And now that we got rid of it off here. And coarse molding paste is gritty, and it basically is just going to add a little dimension to this thing. And I'm going to go around the edges with this so you can sort of see. Okay. I'm going to just scrape this. You can hear the grit. And it's all right. Come over here, you little darling. We'll get you the other end of you. Okay.
Sign it.
Is that the salt that's making that noise, or the medium paste?
It's the molding paste. You see, because there's no salt on this end of it, and it's kind of gritty. If you kind of feel it, it's got a grit to it, and it's the marble in it that kind of and that's the whole thing about the. It's just kind of playing, and then of course I like to draw, and this of course is an awesome tool. And I'm just and I guess my main thing tonight that I wanted to kind of get across is that you can do anything you want. It's just important to play and not worry. And you know what? If it ends up looking really bad, if you could gesso over it, you can throw it out, you can play with it, or you could use it as something to remind yourself that you don't want to do again. But but it doesn't. It doesn't really matter. I think what matters as artists and as people that we try and live a creative life and try and have some fun, because as I say, life's too short, and it's really just important to have fun, and we are not having as much fun as we should have, and at least I'm speaking for myself, but I'm changing that. This year, 2015, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be organizing trips so we can all have fun if we want to, and I just want you to think about that acronym for fun: freeing, uplifting, necessity for a happy life. So let me just try. I don't want to keep you guys over. Oh, I've been talking my head off here. You know what? I think that, are there any, so basically, these are both pretty wet to be actually putting up, but you basically let them dry, because they change significantly when they dry, and then you go in and you look at what you need to do to improve them, or to make them more aesthetically pleasing. And for me, there are all kinds of rules in art, but intuition, when you're tuned in to your intuition, you know whether it's working or it's not working. You might not know what it needs, but you know it's not working. And so, and sometimes that's the beauty of having other artists as studio mates or friends. And they, and we do critiquing down here too, which is really very valuable because we all need feedback. Well, oh, that looks great. Well, that needs a little help. But and it's fun. It's really fun to do. And so if you're in a rush, you can, and we're with a blow dryer, but it's better not to. It doesn't dry as quickly, and even as watercolor artists, there are times when you have to leave it. It's okay, if you touch it, it's going to be all over the place. And so sometimes we have to have patience, and my suggestion to that is just is creating more, having more things on the go at one time, and just having fun with it. And just not allowing yourself to get caught up in it. Now, that being said, what I didn't have. Oh, sorry.
Oh, just a quick one. Do you tend to mostly use the paints and the molds and the gels, or do you incorporate like foil and tissue paper? And I tried that, and mine came up looking like 3 big baked potatoes.
I have experimented with the multimedia things. I have tried the foil and stuff, and I tend to, and I did take a mixed media and collage class at Whatcom last summer, and it's fun and it's creative, but I tend to really like to use but it's the gels and like there's everything from I've got these here. I didn't put them out for you, but basically this is Golden's list of all their gels and their products and things, and so I can actually pass that around. And this is their list of colors, and when you go to the free lectures that Golden puts on, they give you these, and so you can pass that around. And this is their new high flow acrylics, which I tend to love because you can drop those in. But anyhow, they're just fun. But so what we ended up doing was getting our studios set up, and we painted and did the work on it last year in April, and we opened it up on the 2nd of May. And it's a large studio with 7 artists, but we have a large space in the center. And when we originally set it up, we had decided that we wanted to be able to use that space for teaching. And a couple of years ago, I guess, or a year and a half ago, my plan was to start teaching acrylics. And basically, and the reason is that so many people don't know where to start with acrylic, because you just look at the wall and you say, where do I start? So what's happened is that I now that everything's settled down in my life, I'm able to look at doing that. So starting this next month, I'm giving it, just testing the market to see if there's an interest in coming and playing with acrylics. So I gave it some serious thought, and what I came up with was that a 2-hour class is plenty, and that each class would be to try out a product and then just play with it, so that you could. So in order to facilitate that, I didn't want to say, well, this is the list you need to bring. I didn't want people to have to go out and buy things. So I thought I should provide the material to start with. And so starting on the 8th, Sunday the 8th of February, from 1 until 3 on Sunday afternoon. And who knows if this is what is going to happen, but basically, I'm testing it out. So from 1 to 3, it's $25 for 2 hours, and all you need to bring is your apron or wear your paint clothes. And the first class, we're going to basically experiment with color, basic, color theory, and the mediums. And then we just kind of go through it the next week. And I've planned out 2 just to start with to see what the interest is. And we are open at our studio for the Art Walk, which is the first Friday of the month. So on the first Friday of the month, we will be open and having then that is the 6th, I think it is. Anyway, the 6th is Friday, February. We're having a Valentine's thing, and I'm going to be letting people know. So that's kind of what I wanted to kind of let people know. So basically, I am going to send these around, and this is basically I'm asking for your input about acrylics, if you're interested in classes or not. And at the end of the presentation, which is coming up real quick, I'm going to do a draw and give away a free class. And it'll be your choice. In February, there's 2 classes set at the moment. So if you could pass this around for me, I will get a pen out.